call the meeting back to order. I have a motion moved by John Eccles and seconded by David Moles, and be resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby returns to open session of Council at 10 a.m. Any conversations on the motion? All those in favor? Very good. Thank you, Joanne. And I'd ask Joanne to make note in the minutes that only the matter that we went into closed session was the only matter discussed. Matters arising from closed session for anybody out there. You'll notice a small difference today when you're watching this at home on your computer or video screening it. The lady to my right is replacing Mr. Turner, who is on an economic development mission in Cuba. Marx and his wife are on holidays, so Joanne, thank you for sitting here and keeping me straight for the day. Joanne will be taking the minutes of the meeting and doing the clerk's work today. The matters arising from closed session, we will not be seeking, upon legal advice, we will not be appealing the Ministry of Environment's order against the order that came down for Nextera for the approval of the project. There's just many things that would have needed to happen, and there really is no place for us to be able to appeal. There's only two things in the order that can be appealed, and on advice from our legal, both of them have been tried on a couple of times and have not been successful and have been ruled not there. So for those reasons, we will not be going back at it again. The other aspect of it is that the appeal process itself, like a lot of other things in the Green Energy Act, seems to be heavily weighted towards the opponent. Did I say opponent? Proponent. Sorry about that. That the proponent, it's heavily weighted in their side, and the time frames certainly don't allow enough investigative information to be gathered to be able to launch an appeal from the order that came down. But the wind turbine project is far from starting. For the matter of fact that there is no road use agreements. There's been no agreements made with the municipality as of yet. And it will be determined how well the company itself listens to the municipality going forward, instead of asking for and demanding that things be done to their discretion. The roads are owned by the municipality. The entrances are granted by the municipality, not on the demand from the company themselves. So we will be looking for some cooperation and listening to what the municipality requires going forward for this project. The only thing that the Ministry of Environment has given them, that their engineering requirements have been met to be able to erect it, but the company themselves now have to listen to the municipality. And one thing that is in the municipality, and it's been the bylaw of the municipality for a number of years, is that oversized loads, I'm not sure what the weight is, Ken, but I know that it is considerably less the upper limit in our bylaw than what the wind companies are going to be asking for. So that will take an amendment to our bylaw to even allow them on our roads for the overweight and the overwidth. They may be able to meet the county requirements, but those bylaws haven't been passed, or agreements have not been passed by the county yet as well. So there is, for the proponent of the project, there is a lot of work ahead of them, and a lot of requirements that they're going to have to meet before this project ever goes ahead, if it will go ahead in the time frames required. That's kind of an update from closed session. I think that'll be it. Joanne, we have no public meetings. Consent agenda. Do we have that? Where's the consent motion? Yeah, but I need one motion to yep, that's the one there. Sorry. Send it that way. We need a motion for the consent. Hmm? Yeah, it's going that way. Yeah. Thank you. I have a motion moved by David Molson and seconded by Mark Rappy. Be it resolved that the minutes of the special meeting of council of the Municipality of West Grey held on January 16, 2014, and the regular meeting of council of the Municipality of West Grey held on January 20, 2014, be approved as printed, and further that the minutes of the West Grey committees A2 be received as circulated, and further that the minutes of the other committees A3 be received as circulated. Any questions or comments on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Moving on. I guess that brings us down. There's no tenders awarded. Communications from Mayor and Council. Any council members got any communications that they at this point in time? I do have one. I attended the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority's annual meeting a week and a half ago. They're moving along quite expediently on their projects and revamping. The new manager is revamping some of the personnel there. They have was just announced that a longtime employee, Bonnie Sherman, just announced this week, or last week I guess it is. Bonnie's been with the Conservation Authority for 36 years and she's retiring. We wish her the best luck. And they have a new employee at the old headquarters, I guess, or the conservation headquarters that are in West Grey. There's a new employee there that has taken over, keeping the park clean, and the park manager maintenance there, and a resident of West Grey that lives just out near Allen Park. And I say, but from my position of driving past it pretty much every day, he's doing an excellent job of keeping it open, and it is a place that a lot of people enjoy walking. So he keeps the trails open there and going well. So wish them on behalf of the municipality the best of luck for the new year. And there is one thing I think that's in everybody's mailbox for councillors and staff. They're having a workshop at the headquarters in Formosa, February the 19th, I believe it is, for flood control. So if you want to go, I think it's 9 till 2. They were looking for some response. Any other comments or anything on that, Director John? No? Okay. It is open for staff as well as municipal councillors and emergency prepared people and whatnot for flood control. And if this snow starts going away anytime quick, we could be into flood problems. So we'll certainly recognize that kind of timely that they're going to have that. have been out to a number of functions as well too, going forward. Birthday celebrations and whatnot in the municipality. So brought greetings and best wishes. One of them was a 75th birthday party a week and a half ago or so for Greta Kennedy, who has done an awful lot with different committees and served on the Police Services Board for a number of years. So Greta celebrated with her family at the Durham Legion a couple of weeks ago, her 75th birthday. So, and she's still as energetic now as she was on her 50th birthday. I didn't know her back past any further back than that, so I'm not going to comment on how energetic she was, but she certainly hasn't slowed down any and is still very active in the community. So we wished her the best of luck as well. There's no other communications. We have a delegation scheduled for 11:30. Jeff Musser from Jardine, Lloyd, Thompson, our insurance, is coming to give us an update on our insurance, and we may be giving him an update on how much less we want to pay. And he was going to give us some options on that, but Jeff will be here at 11:30. Business arising from the previous meeting, I don't believe we have any, Gary? So we might as well go down to staff reports. And Carrie, you have the first one. Is welcome here this morning. So we've got the director's report in our package. Where are we? I'll try and get it here soon. The first one would be the accounts. Is there any questions on the accounts as they're presented here? We've had the option of having them. All right, then I guess we better send. Everything was straightforward there for everybody? Bev, Councillor Cunning.
Overall, if I may. Do we have a cutoff date for 2013 invoices?
Yeah, usually it's closer to the end of February. We'll have the auditors in. They're scheduled for March. The next, this will be the last one that you see 2 vouchers for. Anything that comes in now will be set up as an accrued liability, and you'll see it in that category, so that we can start closing the items off. But and then we'll be back to the 1 voucher, but there will still be a little bit of 2013 if anything does come in. The middle of March is when the auditors are scheduled to be here, so we'll be submitting our HST return, so that's why this is the last sort of double voucher, because we'll be doing right. Yeah.
Okay, Bev?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on the accounts? Vouchers as presented? Seeing none, I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that the Director of Finance Treasurer be authorized to pay the accounts presented as voucher number 26, 2013, and voucher number 2, 2014 of the Municipality of West Grey in the amounts of $316,862.99 and $611,830.55 respectively. Any questions or comments on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Okay, thank you, Dran. The next one, Carrie, is information, is the annual council remuneration summary. As you can see, none of us will make the sunshine list. Yeah, add it all together, Dave. Okay. And the other one that's there, Carrie, is the 2014 mileage reimbursement rate. We're on with the county, and that doesn't change from the last Anything else? Carrie?
If
Go
anyone
ahead, Kate.
hasn't submitted their timesheets, if they could leave them possibly today, then we can have that for, I'd gotten a few of them earlier, but not enough to process them with the snowstorm and whatnot. So if you can leave them today, then that would be good. Heather can have those ahead of time.
Okay. No questions for Carrie? All right, we're moving along pretty good here today. Yeah, the efficiency. What's the difference here? Okay, Mr. Gould. Oh, and I just raced through yours, Ken. Sorry about that. I'm already down to bylaws. Ken, the first thing you have on is snowmobiles, I believe. I can get back to it here. There we are. Snowmobile club routes.
Yes, I was asked by council to find out some information on as to what municipal properties and road allowances that the snowmobile clubs that are within West Grey are using, and I was able to contact the clubs, and they have provided some information, and also some agreements that will require the signature if council is in agreement with the areas that they are using.
Is there any questions for Ken on this, on the snowmobile use agreements? More of a formalization than they've certainly been active out there the last couple of weeks, that's for sure. So the first one is, I have a motion moved by David Mollison and seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby authorizes the Mayor to sign the Memorandum of Understanding for the Klondike Trail Groomers to use certain municipal road allowances in West Grey as detailed in their letter dated January 4th, 2014, and subject to the municipality being named as an insured in their insurance policy. I guess that's a proper grammatical way of putting it. Any questions on the motion? Mark, Councillor.
The only question I had, Ken, is in your recommendation it says authorize the mayor to sign agreements with the snowmobile clubs, and that motion is just for the Klondike Trail Groomers. Did you want something broader or just the Klondike one?
We got another.
Oh, there's another one?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Two of them.
Never mind, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions on this one for the Klondike Trail Groomers? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. There. Second one, Councillor Rapke. Moved by John Eccles and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby grants permission to the Durham District Trail Blazers Snowmobile Club to use certain municipal properties as detailed in their letter dated December 5th, 2013, and subject to the municipality being named as an insured in their insurance policy. Any questions? Carol?
Thank you.
Councillor Lawrence?
I'm just wondering, it's vacant lots in the industrial park. What vacant lot is there that's owned by the municipality down there? Thought we had no lots left other than the area that to the south of Lynn McCollum's where the tornado came through. Is that where they're talking about?
I believe so, Carol, yes.
Okay. And also, my question about the railroad land north of Douglas Street, that means they're going to be running in behind those townhouses then, down on Parkview?
Yes, they do that in the wintertime.
Okay.
Yeah, we try to block it off in the summer from
No, yeah, I realize that.
ATVs and whatever, but yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, down in there, dump someplace. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. The next one, Ken, is waste diversion. You want to get on to that?
Just going back to the snowmobile clubs, we should have one for the Hanover Newstead club. So they're using property at the landfill site in Normanby, and also the unopened road allowance, side road 20 in Normanby, between the Bendick Normanby town line and concession 18.
Let's look and see if we can find the paperwork here. We don't have that one, but we can do it up here. Maybe it's not such a bad idea to have Mark around. For a bit of paperwork, that's all. What was the one that we had for the Trailblazers there? Yeah, this one's for the, just bear with us here for a second. We've got one that we can. When was their correspondence come in, Ken? Yeah. Okay, we'll say January 27th. In their insurance policy. Somebody sign that one? You don't have to read it. You don't have to read it, I do. Okay, I have a motion moved by David Mollison and seconded by Mark Rapke. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby grant permission to the Hanover Newstead Snowmobile Club to use certain municipal properties as detailed in their correspondence January 27, 2014, and subject to the municipality being named in their insurance policy. Any questions or comments on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, that's it for snowmobiles. Thanks, Ken. Waste Diversion Ontario. We had some very good news for 2012 rates that put West Grey in the top 20 in the province. So that is a wonderful thing that the residents have been able to participate in waste diversion, and recognizing that West Grey now is in 12th place, and it's 12th place from the top out of 400 municipalities that WDO look at. So I thought it was kind of interesting as well too that Grey County must do a very good job, because there was 4 out of the top 20 were from Grey County, which was Owen Sound, Meaford, Grey Highlands, and West Grey were 4 out of the top 20. So we know how to keep our municipality clear of debris, and recycling products here is something that is valued. So we will be saying thank you to the residents for their participation. Bev?
Can you tell me, what Guelph does that is the difference between the 12% that we do and they do? Do they have like composting? So that's the difference of the 12% basically?
Yes, there is a plant actually in Guelph that,
Right.
that deals with compost, yes.
Okay,
They have that wet.
wet compost. Does Meaford still have their composting facility that they had a number of years ago that we toured when we had a committee that was for waste diversion? Do you know if that's still in?
I'm not sure whether it's still active or not. I don't know.
And Southgate does composting, correct?
Yes, they pick it up from all of the residents,
So
yes.
maybe that's our next avenue to look at to increase our, I know there's a difference in pricing and how it's done, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe it's something we should be looking at is compost pickup. See what's involved.
Yes, we can, I guess, talk about that at a committee of the whole meeting sometime and see if we can. I know it is quite expensive, but.
Yes.
We'll be doing some research on continuing with our hazardous waste as well too. We may, there may be some advantages there. Southgate has a pilot project that they were working on with WDO, and Ken's doing some research on that to be able to give us some idea of, couldn't we have that right at our landfills? And it seems to be very positive, but we'll have to get a few more facts and figures, unless you got more information for us on that one, Ken.
I actually have that on the committee of the whole agenda. There's, so if you wanted to wait until the committee of the whole this afternoon, we can get into that a little bit if you wish.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just want to keep moving forward,
Yep.
because we tend to our great results, but if we can put
Moving forward with it. Very good. Anything else, Ken? Any other questions of Ken? We're still, Bev, go ahead.
How is our winter budget looking?
We won't have all the labor and equipment time, I don't suppose, in for January yet, but as soon as we do, I'll provide a report to council. I'm sure it's going to show that we've been out pushing a lot of snow, so just the cost of fuel alone is this time of year has certainly increased since we started plowing snow this fall.
Removal, are we doing any more, like when's the next slated removal?
Is that microphone?
When's the next slated removal date?
We removed the snow in Durham, I believe, one night last week on the main street, and they're actually going in Wednesday night again to take back some of the banks along the private driveways and intersections on Highway 6 to allow better visibility for anybody trying to get in and out of side streets or driveways. So that's going to happen Wednesday night.
Are they going to do along 4 as well? There's a really bad one coming out of Kincardine Street going north when you meet County Road 4. It's hard to see.
I'll certainly mention to them, Carol. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. Yes. I've had the question, Bev, a number of times from individuals out there, and I've said, because Kerry, we passed the budget, Ken's got all kinds of money in his snow removal as of January 1st. I'm not so certain if it keeps going out the way it is at the present moment, how much he's going to have left by November 1st for 2014. But,
We'll have no snow removal before Christmas next year.
well, if you can promise us a green Christmas, then everybody will be happy. Okay. Any other questions for Ken? All right. I guess that drops us down then to bylaws. You might as well, yep, if you can pass those out. Okay, we're going into bylaws then. We have 3 bylaws on the docket today. Okay, the first bylaw we have on is bylaw number 14, 2014. This is dealing with establishing a fire and emergency plan for wind turbines.
Your Worship, Mr. Mayor.
I don't think I've recognized you, sir. Is there, what, either sit down or leave. We don't do this in council meetings here.
I'm counsel for next year, and we respectfully request the opportunity to address council briefly about this proposed plan.
Well, you're not on the agenda, sir, so respectfully, no.
We were only made aware of the agenda on Friday, and we made every effort to be here.
Well, that's fine. You can be here. You can watch, and these are the proceedings of the municipality. And in a council meeting, no, this is a council meeting, and it's not a public meeting. Thank you. I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence, seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that bylaw number 14, 2014, being a bylaw to establish fire and emergency plan and fire detection and suppression system requirements for industrial wind turbines, IWTs, proponents in the municipality of West Grey, be now read a first and second. And the mover and seconder, just first and second? Okay, I noticed that was changed. Passed the first and second time. And that the said bylaw, passed a little bit confused this morning. The fire detection and suppression system requirements for industrial wind turbines, IWTs, proponents in the municipality of West Grey, be now read a first and second time. And that's where I'm stopping. Any questions or comments on this motion? Councillor Marshall, Don?
Just a clarification on number 2 and number 3. On number 2 there, detection and suppression system speaking directly to the prevention of the spreading of fires. What does that mean?
From what has happened in the past with these types of industrial projects, the place where the fires have happened is up in the air at the hub. And what has happened in more than one occasion with them is that obviously up in the air, you're 100 meters up, give or take, and that fire comes down. They're usually in rural spots and in a wheat field or a hay field or something of that nature, so that there would be some description in here in the plan of how they would control the spread in the rural areas of that fire from wind blowing it and whatnot. They usually just don't, like a lot of other things, the weather doesn't dictate what it's going to be like when the fire starts in a turbine.
So that would be no different than a barn catching fire
That's
or a
correct.
house fire and sparks blowing off the house into the bush.
Yep.
So that the suppression system, the prevention of fires would be heat locators away from the turbine in the grass that detect that there's a spreading of a fire away from the turbine.
I would say that that would be pretty hypothetical to say that. I guess it could happen, but it would be more how the fire would be detected, and I'm going to say probably from personnel, the same as we do with our own fire department, and try to keep that from spreading. So it would be labor, people doing the detection instead of equipment. But maybe the wind turbine companies have some advanced technology that they can handle that with.
Okay. And number 3, all costs relating to the fire suppression of industrial wind turbines shall be borne by the owner on a full cost recovery basis. Is that just the fighting the fire in the industrial turbine, or is the cost borne by the proponent if the fire spreads into a bush? Is that cost also borne by the proponent?
Yes,
The spreading.
same as it is for our residents out there that end up causing a grass fire and gets spread down the line fence and over the fence and into the neighbor's field. And we have charged that back to the property owner in those types of cases as well too. So
If they have intentionally started a fire, we charge it back.
Yep.
But in the case where a fire starts accidentally, because they're a taxpayer, we do not charge them fire protection.
We have done that when it has been got out of control as well too. That we have, accidental fires for other industries as well too. Interforce being the one that I can think of right off the top of my head, that when Interforce was going, they had a number of times when they had accidental fires in their sawdust hopper, and we started charging that back to them as well too. And they were quite amenable to having that done.
Okay.
Okay? Any other questions? Call the question then. This bylaw moved the first and second time. All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. We shall have this come back. I believe it'll be on our next, on February the 17th. Almost said 20th again, on the 17th, when we'll have it on our docket the second time. The next bylaw is on a land that has been, from the Committee of Adjustment, recommended for approval. I have a motion moved by John Eccles and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that bylaw number 15, 2014, being a bylaw to formally authorize the transfer of lands to the Municipality of West Grey from Mark Kirchner Brennan and Susan Marie Brennan to the Municipality of West Grey, described as Part Lot 5, Division 2, Concession 1, EGR, designated as Part 5, Plan 17, R3557, former Township of Gwinnett, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. The next bylaw is moved by John A. Bell and seconded by John Eccles. Be it resolved that bylaw number 16, 2014, being a bylaw to appoint the Chief Administrative Officer, Deputy Clerk, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the Mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Is there any questions or comments on this motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Mr. Adams, welcome to West Grey. Now make it official. We look forward to working with you very much. That is, it's going to be great. I guess anybody that's out there looking, the next time you see Mr. Adams, he'll be either sitting at one of these chairs instead of just kind of in the audience, and we look forward to your great work ethic and expertise in helping West Grey continue to move forward. So it's going to be a fun ride. All right. Did you want to be recognized to say anything down there, Mr. Adams? Yeah, as usual. Okay, any other business right now? Councillor Marshall.
Just had an inquiry about the Ayton Mill Pond. Just wonder if there was an update on where that was heading.
I don't have anything. Ken, do you have? Not aware of anything? We'll, I think that's been more Mark has been looking at that, so we'll have maybe get an update at the next committee of the whole meeting and or council. Good. Any addendums? Notice of motion or direct motion? Don't believe we have any matters for a closed session. Question period. Any questions from anybody in the audience today that has relating to anything on the... Yes, go ahead. You've got two. Just identify yourself if you could now.
I'm a resident of Glenelg, and I don't know if I can ask this, I don't know if it's on your thing, but does the appeal for the turbines, is there any hope, or am I allowed to ask?
You're allowed to ask. It was on the agenda this morning. After much discussion with our legal team, the appeal for the process on the MOE is very, very limited and very onerous on anybody that was going to appeal. To make the information and whatnot to be able to put it together, and the scope of where we could is, as I said, very limited on what can be appealed. So at this time, the municipality will not be appealing the MOE approval. You know, we've done an awful lot of work on investigating, you know, what areas could be or whether it could be, but it was felt that at this point in time, no. Now, that certainly doesn't stop private citizens from looking at it as well, too. Yeah. Carol?
You might comment on the peer review situation?
Yeah. In the biggest thing on it, from the MOE's perspective, is there's a huge amount of engineering, consultant documentations that are handed in. Certainly a small municipality, I'm not even certain a large municipality, has the ability, has the staff, has the professional people on hand to go through all of those documents that were handed in. We had tried, normally that would be the same with a subdivision, same with gravel pits. We have those peer reviewed from outside third party. You know, is everything in there that's in there? Is it defendable, correct, done in the right procedure? Strangely enough, with this company that has a proponent for this project in this municipality, we've gone back and forth on trying to do that peer review of the documentations and consultants' reports, and it's always at the expense of the proponent, as it is with any of those. The big difficulty was trying to get the company to come forward and do those and agree to do it, and in the end, we thought we had an agreement for them to do it. We had found a company that was independent and would give us independent third, you know, an objective opinion. And then the company pulled back and refused to pay the $35,000 it was going to take to review these documents. That would have, you know, it might have made a little bit more information available to us on whether we could have appealed or not, but certainly without that, there was just nothing, there wasn't there. Okay? Okay. Well, we're still trying. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'm going to suggest that we take a break. Our individual that is here to do our timing today is slightly off. Jeff Musser from our insurance company is coming to give us a presentation, and as a delegation. So I think that's 11:15, 11:30. So we'll adjourn until at least 20 after 11. You agree with that, Dave? Absolutely. Okay. We stand. Just taking a break. Yeah, I'm not saying we adjourn. Right. Correct term. Yes, we're just taking a coffee break a little extended coffee break here. Okay. Thank you. Okay. We'll call the meeting back to order. And I hope everybody's got their coffee cup filled up, because this gentleman, we have a delegation here this morning. We don't need the coffee cup. He'll keep us wide awake with some interesting news and whatnot. Jeff Musser from JLT, Jardine, Lloyd, Thompson, our insurance carrier, is with us. Welcome this morning, Jeff. Thank you very much for taking the invitation and taking the time to come up and talk to us. It was a bit of a shock when we saw the insurance renewal that we got, but you're here to tell us why it's a good thing. And the microphone, I think you'll be very comfortable there. Carrie will give you that. There you are. So everything now will be recorded, and we'll hold you to it from here on in.
Okay. Thank you, Your Worship.
It's always been a good working relationship with JLT, and we're hopeful to continue it. But thanks for coming out today.
Okay.
Jeff.
Thank you. As you're aware, Terry Patterson normally looks after this account, so I'm here in his absence. I'm not totally familiar with the account. He's tried to fill me in as much as we can. So I know you went through the renewal process, and then you actually went to tender. And I believe we were the only ones that tendered a renewal for you. I've also brought the documentation of the claims or the renewal history since 2009. And if you're looking at, I guess basically what we're looking at is the liability is the one that has the big increase. There was a slight increase in the property back in the 2010 renewal, which was just after the tornado. I believe there was like almost a $700,000 payout on that. So it's a minor increase, but everything else is with the property has basically just been the rate of inflation. Back to the liability, we've kept it at bay pretty much, as you can see, from '09 right through to the 2012 and 13 renewal premium or renewal period. 2013 we saw a bit of an increase for that period, and then the 2014 and the 15 renewal premium we saw a substantial increase. If I can back up at each renewal premium, we basically have a, they call it a matrix, but it's basically what all of insurers do. They take your population of your size and whatnot. We put your data into it, and basically the industry presents a rate that the municipality should be at, and then we go from there, and then we issue the premiums. Every year, Terry Patterson goes to bat for you guys with our underwriters. So our underwriters will say, well, this is what West Gray needs to pay. And then Terry looks at it and he says, no, I disagree with it. You got to go back and sharpen your pencil. We got to, you know, or he doesn't like it. The last 2 years, we've been unsuccessful in convincing the underwriters that we need to keep things as is, so to speak. I have some claims experience here since 2009. First page in '09, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 liability claims. First one being $18,000, the next one is $32,000, the next one is $20,000, and 2 of them are still open. Another liability, $32,000 paid out, still open. $3,200, it is closed. Another one for $5,000, closed. $61,000, still open. $131,000, still open. $154,000, still open. $671 closed. $13,000 still open. $5,000 still open. So those are these are slips and falls, majority of them, and then auto, from auto accidents and so on and so forth, where we're hitting. And then I guess you informed me there's a couple more.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're not, which are not on this, that are heading our way. So with the renewal, the underwriters are looking at the frequency and consistency of the liability claims, and that is basically why there's such an increase in the liability premium for this year. When we send adjusters out, the adjusters are working for the insurance companies and yourself, so they're trying to find ways to, you know, they're not just going to, just because the claim comes in, they automatically got to pay it. They're looking at the investigate it and trying to determine what is the best route, what is the most cost-effective route. So it's just not a matter of they just automatically pay claims. They do look into it. And they do make recommendations on how possibly some of these could be preventable. There has been an increase in the industry with the insurance companies, so there has been a slight increase liability premium-wise across the board with all insurance companies. So it's not 100% all of your claims experience. There is a very small portion that is the industry average that has been driven up. That's pretty much it for, I guess, open it to questions. I haven't covered anything.
Any questions? Now's the time. Deputy Mayor Bell. John.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for the presentation, Jeff. One question I had, and you explained a lot of it. Yes, we've had some slips and falls and a few things not go our way by the looks of the premium. Anyways, I guess What I was wondering, what's the threshold, or what does the company, as far as a slip and fall, when do you decide, shall we say, really try to settle it or really try to pursue it? And from a legal angle, or do you try to get rid of it?
From an adjuster's point of view?
Get it off the docket, or versus take it all the way to court?
Well, the longer we stay, obviously, the longer it stays on the books, and I don't want to say stays dormant, is probably not in your best interest. And it's in the best interest of the insurance companies to get it resolved. To get it resolved in a manner that we're just not going to doll out the money, but they fight for you as well. So threshold as far as time-wise or whatever, I don't, because we may not.
Well, both time and monetary.
Because a lot of these, there's some claims that, you know, they sit dormant, and all of a sudden 5 years down the road, out they come, you know, so, and that's why they have monies put in reserves simply for that as well, is because looking at past history with the type of claims, not within just the municipality, but as everybody, they know that some of these tend to sit dormant and they'll come back and bite you, so to speak.
So going on, I guess some of these slips and falls, like, do you absolutely say no to some people?
Absolutely.
And would you have any idea?
And
like
percentage-wise?
Say no to $5,000 ones, or say no to $200,000 ones? Or do you saw off and say, let's make a deal?
I don't know if I can answer that.
Or all of the above?
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer that for you. Like I know, for instance, one of my clients last year had a slip and fall. The gentleman suffered a fractured skull. The adjuster went out and looked at all the details, actually went to the place, and he said to the municipality, you have absolutely no defense, we're paying this. So there was no documentation of snow removal, and so on and so forth. So whether or not, and I don't know with the roads department, whether or not they're documenting when they
Yes.
plow and sand and salt, and same with the road, or on their trucks on the roads, whether or not, you know, do you have a GPS system, plow down, plow up, sand on, sand. Those are huge defense mechanisms for the municipality when it comes to court cases, and we have seen a lot of the cases in the discovery when the claimant's lawyer is in contact and they find out that, oh, they've got the GPS system. So some of those claims automatically do go away.
Just one more thing, and then I know there's other questions. So then, to say that we're getting thrown in the same pot as, say, the industry average, then because we do have all these things and some other ones, is that really, I don't want to say a fair measure of coverage or a fair premium to pay, but is that anything that can be argued?
But when I say the industry, that's the insurance company as a whole, not just the ones that are insuring municipalities. It's liability as a whole has led a little bit of an increase. So no, I guess I should have reworded that. It's not just our municipal clients. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Councilor Lawrence Carroll.
My question kind of falls on some of the things John was saying, like slips and falls on sidewalk, and
Yes.
done your utmost, and you have a slip and fall without injury. Do you just say no, or do you investigate, or what?
If a claim is filed, we have to investigate. Or not we, but
Yeah, so then what do you require, like medical documentation or something that there's been?
I'm not sure if I can answer that, because that's something that the adjuster does, but I definitely would get some answers. But of course, they're going to look for medical. They're going to want to speak to probably the roads
So they have to have something to back up their claim.
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
And if they don't,
Absolutely.
at that point, it's a no, or from your company, you don't just settle out of court, which seems to.
Yeah, and we get a lot of this, like with auto claims. They have to have the information and the documentation, you know, to back it up. You know, was there a police report? Oh no, there's no police report, and that seems to be an up and coming one too. I hit a pothole. You know, my car's been damaged. I want to recover costs for, it was $1,000 damage. Well, it was a police report. No. No. So they go out and they might be able to point, well, yes, they did find a pothole, but there's no other witnesses and no other, you know. Could it be a legitimate claim? Could very well have been, but there's nothing really to back it up. And that's where some municipalities say, especially when it's below your deductible, do you pay it or don't you pay it? And that's where I think some of the municipalities are getting a little bit hard and they'll say, no, we're not paying for it. You know, you provide, give us the documentation, give us the police report, you know, those sort of things. Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Don, Councillor Marshall.
If there is a claim and it's declined, does that go against our record?
No, it does not.
And when they investigate these claims for slip and falls, and they find out the guy is wearing a pair of curling shoes with sliders on both feet, how deeply do they investigate?
Very much so. That is something to look at, and especially when you talk about slips and falls. You know, was the person, I'll pick on the ladies, in high heels, in the snow, so to speak. Well, that person is a little bit at fault. They look at that as well. They look at all the parameters to see who's negligent, who's not, who's responsible, who's not responsible, how much is common sense. You know, they do look at all those sort of parameters, absolutely.
And if they do settle a claim and we pay out and our deductible's $5,000 and the payout's $5,000, does that go against our record?
If it's under the 5,000,
yes.
If there's no payouts, no. Not just because it has been investigated and whatnot, but as long as it's under the $5,000, no, it's because there's been no payouts.
Anything else? Any other questions? Bev, Councillor Cunningham.
You say that there's a number of claims that are still open.
Correct.
So is there a window where they can stay open, or do they, you said 5 to 5 years, like is that?
5 years was just an example, is where we've seen some of them have come back, all of a sudden a claim has arrived from 5 years ago, so to speak, and then that was just figuratively speaking. As far as a window being closed, I don't believe so. They can, depending on what the courts do or the municipality does or what the claimant does. I know I have one at another municipality where they're at a stalemate because the claimant wants restitution, but she won't file a suit. And we've paid out money. Yeah, so you're puzzled, Mr. Mayor. That's exactly what needs to be done. She needs to file for damages, and it hasn't been done, so that stays open until somebody makes a move, and you can't make them. So I don't believe there's any date. There's a certain amount of timeline that things have to be open and closed.
Don.
For budgeting purposes for the next 5 years, where are the rates going? Cost of living, or are they going to go 33%?
I don't know if I can answer that. I'm not an underwriter, so we saw a modest increase with liability this year. I would assume probably not next year, but I don't know if I can give you an honest answer. Say that yes, you are not going to have an increase. I can't say that. I'd love to, but I can't.
And you said in 2009 we had 4 claims. Is that what you said? 4, 5 maybe?
Just liability.
Liability?
Yes.
Have you seen that number increase every year since then? The amount of claims?
Look at the. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On average, about 5 per year of liability claims alone. So they seem to be consistent.
Consistent, yeah.
Yes. And that's one of the things that the underwriters do look at, is the consistency of this, consistency and frequency.
So the consistency of the claims have stayed at 5, and the payouts might have stayed the same, and our rates went up considerably.
But there has been some differences in the payouts, for sure. I'm just said there's a couple of claims, but then some of the payouts are considerably more. For instance, in 2010, $137,000 was paid out in liability claims alone. Let's see, 2010, and your premium was $70,000. Hold everything up. Liability, there's over $400,000, 2011. And again, the 2011, you're looking at $70,000 premium. So there's the considerable amount of payouts, not just liability. Everything else has been pretty good, even with the large payout with the property. We had a slight increase the year after that, but everything else has been very consistent. Actually, this year it went down. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anything else? Ken, sorry, go ahead.
Does the insurance company, or I guess, and/or the courts recognize the regulations in the Municipal Act for sidewalks, slip and falls?
Yes, they do. Our biggest problem, and I know this has been challenged at AMO and whatnot, it's how the courts settle things. It's not the insurance companies, it's the awards that the courts are awarding for slips and falls. And actually, I brought some documentation. Uneven sidewalk results in a trip and fall award. Ontario Court awarded $107,000 in damages. You know, and we're all aware of the minimum maintenance standards on your sidewalks. Half an inch is the you know, and you have to at least identify, by identifying it under the minimum maintenance standards, you've done some due diligence. So that's why it's necessary to walk your sidewalks every year and at least identify it with the orange paint, or have them shaved, replace, whatever the case may be. Unfortunately, with the amount of, I'd hate to see what's going to bring this year with the amount of frost that we have. What's that going to do to our roads and sidewalks come spring when it all starts to come out? We're all in the same boat.
So are you suggesting we should be suing the National Weather Agency for bringing us this type of weather?
Yes.
Okay. One of the questions that has certainly come up, did you bring any numbers as to what our higher deductible on different aspects, whether it's property or liability, what that would do for our overall increase?
Yes.
The decrease?
So I brought some numbers, and I'll leave it with Carrie here. The liability, your current deductible is $5,000. If you went to a $10,000 liability, your liability would drop from $162 to $157. The difference of $5,000. I've also have it for the property and the auto as well. So if you went to a $10,000 deductible across the board, there'd be a $9,300 savings. If you went to a $25,000 deductible, there would be a $40,000 savings per year. I guess you'd have to kind of have the numbers people put some facts and figures together for you if you think it's feasible to go that way. We are seeing more municipalities are going to a $10,000 deductible. However, that makes you're then responsible for the first 10, so to speak. So it's kind of a...
So with an average of 5 liability claims a year, first 10,000 on each one of those, we're at $50,000 already and saving 40. I'm looking at Kerry.
Yeah.
Does that add up to a positive for us? Okay.
I don't know if there's maybe something more to help out with risk management, so to speak. Again, not knowing what the roads departments and all that, probably doing everything they can. They're probably doing everything to the book, and or if or no, not more. I don't know what more. I wish I had an answer for that.
Well, it was interesting because partway through your presentation, you said common sense. I mean, and we've heard of it before. Somebody drove through the stop sign, smashed into a car, and then they sue the municipality.
Right.
You got to. Sometimes it ends up getting, as you said, the courts end up, throwing it out. But most times they get something out of it. And we've bought a reflectology machine with two or three of our other local municipalities that we share with them to go around, test those stop signs to make sure they've got the reflectivity there. And you've got the weather on in the morning. It's all over the place. There's freezing rain. Stay off. Stay at home. It's freezing rain, black ice, and you've still got people walking down the sidewalk thinking that, because they're in the municipality, that the sidewalk will be clear, clean, as it would be in the middle of July.
I agree 100% with you.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's where the courts are very sympathetic when it comes to bodily injury. That's what they're looking. They're especially with head trauma and stuff like that. Somebody has to look. The courts are looking at this, and the judge say, "Well, somebody has to look after Johnny." It's it's
because
the
Johnny
courts.
couldn't look after himself.
I agree with you.
I present that.
You've always been called John, not Johnny. Don't take it personally.
My apologies.
Which John? And I guess that that's certainly what the frustration part is. I know that Ken, we have GPSs on our on all of our maintenance equipment that's out there. It's documented when the snowplows have gone out, what their product they're putting on with the Dickie Johns and everything like that. I'm just trying to figure out where we went wrong with society, that an individual has to take some responsibility here, but we keep seeing it time and time again. And maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. There's 12,500 people in West Grey, and so we're only getting 5 a year. Maybe that's the way to look at it. But on a positive perspective, I'm not certain that those 5 are from the municipality of West Grey. Sometimes too many of them are from outside.
Sure. Actually, they could be from outsiders as well. I don't know. I would suggest that we get Christine or Carrie, sorry, to get a recent summary and go through them and have a look at them and see, see where they're arising, and have a look at your payouts, and it might give you a little bit of better horizon on where to go. I agree this joint and several liability is not fair. Will it ever change? You probably know better than I do. You're the voice at AMO and Good Roads and all that sort of stuff, and I don't know if there's been any movement. I can't
It's
see
been
it.
voiced an awful lot.
Yeah.
Have we seen any movement on it yet? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the joint and severe liability. So
Yeah,
you're
it's
1%, but if the other 99% responsible walks away, we pick up the whole thing, and, yeah. It's frustrating.
Absolutely, yeah.
For yourself, it must be frustrating
It's
as well, too.
frustrating at our end too.
You know, that decisions at the court are made on emotions and not on facts.
You're 100%.
Maybe we should start going back to Colombo. Just the facts, man. Just the facts. Doing the investigations. Well, I thank you very much, Jeff.
Okay.
Other questions? Yes, Beth, go ahead.
Do you have any past experience with claims from residents who are living around wind turbine projects for health issues?
No, I'm not. I don't see a lot of the nitty gritty as far as the claims. I would be more than glad to ask our claims department if they're seeing any, and I can forward it back to Carrie or.
If you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
And also the, is there any idea as to whether the municipality's insurance will increase if the proposed industrial wind turbine project comes to West Grey? I'd like to know if there will be an increase in that. I know there's been fires and ice throw and a number of other things. I'm just wondering if there will be a potential increase in premiums.
As far as I'm from Exeter. We had one burn in the Goderich area, and as far as the fire, you watch it burn. There's nothing you can do. All you do is make sure that everybody's out of the area.
The trouble is when the sparks fly and the field's set on fire, then you're...
It's my understanding that there's enough parameter or safe nets that it does shut down, but embers and whatnot coming off the turbine, depending on the time of year, could pose a huge threat.
That's just why I'm wondering if there is any potential for
Okay.
insurance
Definitely-
increases, if you'd let us know.
Definitely
Thank
look
you.
into that for you, sure.
Anything else? Don, go ahead.
I think maybe if anybody was making a claim against municipality, which is public money, their name should not be kept private. And like that might eliminate some of the frivolous claims that come in.
I'm not sure you can do that under the Privacy and Confidentiality Act. You would want to check with your legal on that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure
before
I'm pretty sure you're right. But, it's another thing that, why should it be private? If you're suing the municipality and the money's coming out of your neighbor's pocket.
That's out of my hands, unfortunately. But
Don't know whether that's the Attorney General or MAG, or just where that would end up, whether it goes even beyond that to the federal government on the freedom of information. You're exactly right, but you know, that's one thing that is open and transparent. You know, in our reports here, you know, anybody that is doing business with the municipality on the vouchers, there it is. Johnny got paid X number of dollars for, you know, putting tires on the grader. You know. Bev got paid X number of dollars for towing a vehicle, police car out of the ditch or something of that nature. You know, so you're taking it personally. I was trying to keep it away from that, but yeah, maybe that's something that could be asked and said. You know, if you are suing. Interesting thought, Tom.
it does become public knowledge after it's done, or through the courts. Once it's done and over with, it becomes.
Yeah.
But I don't believe you can do it when it's an open.
Well, that's
open
through the
file.
courts. Does it become public knowledge if it's paid out outside of the court? So you come to a settlement. You come to a settlement on it. $7,500 for a slip and fall. From the insurance, can we release that information?
I'm going to have to get an answer on that. I'm not
I'd like to hear
100%
that.
sure on that. My guess, Mayor Eccles, is no. But
Sign of the I wonder if they
This-
have to sign a confidentiality
Yeah,
release
probably,
or something like that, but I'm not 100%.
It's probably as ironclad as a non-disclosure wind turbine lease agreement that people sign as well too. Okay. Any other questions? We're just about to lunchtime, and Jeff, I think that I thank you very much. I know it's difficult trying to. All of us struggle here with our car insurance and insurances, but it's. Does the industry call it a necessary evil?
Have
Or
no
society?
comment.
I'm going to ask if you would join us. We have lunch coming in. We do have committee of the whole starting at 1 o'clock, and I think lunch is here. So I would ask, if you want to stay for
Sure.
lunch with us,
Appreciate that,
greatly
yeah.
appreciate that. And maybe we can chat a little bit over lunch.
Certainly.
And then we'll come back. Okay. That brings us to the conclusion of the meeting. Mr. Mollison moves motion 20 that we stand adjourned. So council will stand adjourned. We'll reconvene at 1 o'clock for committee of the whole.
Might let it go.